Okay, so 15.4 part 1, we completed the first half of the balance sheet. So we ended up on this page. So now we're going to move to the bottom half of the balance sheet. There's a lot of writing, but not as much to this section. So we're going to start a new section for liabilities. So we'll go ahead and underneath total assets, we'll go ahead and draw a double line under here. Adjust the camera. So draw a double line to indicate that we're starting a new section, or this is the the grand total of the top section with our double line. And then just write immediately on the next line under total assets, we'll write liabilities. So now everything down here is going to be all of our liabilities. So as it shows in the book, current liabilities here, so we'll write that. And then, looking at the book, it starts with accounts payable. It has all the payable accounts through dividends payable before we get to our total. And all that information comes from our worksheet. So and actually all this stuff's going to be on the first page of our worksheet. So look here, we've got accounts payable. And if you notice, everything matches up. Accounts payable. Try to match this, get this close. Accounts payable, federal income tax, employee tax. So all the payable accounts. Unless it ends with dividends. So we've got here accounts payable. So we'll start here at the top. Dividends payable, so I just made that line on there, and then we'll go over to the end, to the other end for the end of the year stuff. I'll go ahead and do the same thing with the dollar amounts. So then all we need to do is I'll go ahead, you can either do this line by line. I'm just going to go ahead and write down all the accounts listed here, right here, and then we'll get all of the dollar amounts right here are going to be in our middle column. And I'm going to pause the video for a minute while I do that. Actually, I'll start with the first two. So accounts payable, then federal income tax payable, and just keep going until you have everything listed within dividends payable. And then let's see, our accounts payable amount was a $16,107.08. So I'll write that over here in the middle column. 16,107.08. So now I'm just going to complete the rest of this section with this and my amounts from here in the middle column. So I'm going to do that. I'm going to pause the video, write all that stuff down, and then start it again. Okay, so got all the accounts written down, and I have all of their dollar amounts written down for each liability account. So this is what yours should look like so far. And then the last line, I'm just going to write down here total liabilities. Then we're going to add all this up and enter the total right here. Total put a line here. And I went ahead and added it all up, so it all comes to, you should come up with $25,196.05. Write that out to the side. 25,196.05. So that's what you should have for your total liabilities. That takes care of this section. I'll put my worksheet to the side here. So then we've got one last little bit to do. This is our stockholders' equity. So right underneath liabilities, we'll start a new section for stockholders' equity. And then we've got our capital stock. And we'll get that from our stockholders' equity sheet. So we're going to get that, our capital stock amount. We get that for our balance total. We've got capital stock, and then our balance December 31st, at the end of the year. So we have $110,000 worth of capital stock. So we'll put that right here in the middle column. So 110, like so. And then you look at the book. Next thing we've got retained earnings. So we can get that from our statement of stockholder equity. Excuse me. So the number we want to use for our retained earnings here, we've got our section for retained earnings, and we have all the different amounts we've written down and all the changes. So then what we had left, the balance that we had at the end of the year, December 31st, we have $100,706.83. So that's the number that we want right here, and we're going to put that underneath our capital stock. So 706.83. So here's our retained earnings. Sorry that my handwriting's so terrible. So then we've got a couple more lines to fill out here. So we've got our total stockholders' equity. So we'll just Write a line here. And in two ways, you can add these up. This is an easy add. Or remember, it's right here on our sheet here. Total stockholders' equity of $210,706.83. So we'll just put that right here. So 210, 706. And 83 cents. Now we got one last line to go. And you look in the book, shows you that's going to be total liabilities and stockholders' equity. So we're just going to label that line, and then we're going to add these two numbers. We're going to add that line, total liabilities and stockholders' equity here, and we're just going to add these two numbers up here and enter that amount here at the bottom line. So I'll go ahead and write this on here. Total liabilities and stockholders' equity. Then I'll draw a line. Calculator. Take this out. We got 25,196.05 plus the 210, 706 and 83 cents. Excuse me. So we got $235,902.88. So that's our final number here. I'll write that down off to the side here too, so it's easier to see. And if you haven't noticed already, you might have, but just like magic, everything balances out in the end. Look at this, our total liabilities and stockholders' equity is equal to our total assets. So all of our receivables and our inventory and our plant assets, they're both equal. So that's the magic of the accounting method. Sometimes some of this stuff doesn't make any sense when it's done, but the reason it's done the way it is because at the end it all balances out, everything matches. If it doesn't match, then there's a problem somewhere. You've got something that's not accounted for, or it's accounted incorrectly. So that's it for the bottom section. Oh, we got to write our double line here to show that that's completely the end. And that is the balance sheet. Notice, balance, everything balances. So there you go. So now it's your turn to do the on your own.